Welcome. We're live. Do we ever have a packed show today? I think this is the longest show sheet we've ever had.
Easily.
I mean, how long is the show sheet for today? Multiple pages.
Multiple pages, yeah.
Yeah, many pages, but that's okay. We will cover everything that happened. Literally everything. We got to do an extra podcast this week. Did you enjoy our extra show?
Oh, I loved it. It was so much fun doing it.
How was it being in the big chair?
Like I said, I respect you, Cal, and Addison even more every time I get to go on because that was my second time on, and it's tough. It's honestly really tough. Chair?
Yeah, on SDLF it is tough. I mean, not that this show doesn't get a large amount of viewers, but SDLF is usually about 5 or 6 times the viewership, and the live chat is similar, 5 or 6 times as big as this one. So, it's
that just means it's easier to get your questions answered here.
That's true. You're much more likely to. We almost always get to every question.
We get to every question. You get to every question on SDLF, but
I do sometimes brush past questions on SDLF. I try not to do that here. So we have Matt Ryan is elite at handoffs. True or false? I mean, I don't know, man. I would say, sure, right? I mean,
sure, why not?
He's done it all his career. All right, so we have a very long show sheet. So you want to I think we just got to get started. Start at the top.
Start at the top. Yeah, we ended with the defensive signing on this show of all things, of course, on last Monday. So we're just going to run through the pre-SDLF stuff really quick because we covered most of the signings that happened on Tuesday on SDLF, so we don't want to, overdo it and do it again. So we have, of course, the Jaguars making splashes, of course. What else is new, right? We have Evan Ingram, 1 year, $9 million, and Zay Jones, 3 years, $30 million. How about that?
Yeah, and let's not forget that just today, Laquan Treadwell re-signed a 1-year deal with the Jaguars. So that means now they have Christian Kirk as the one, Zay Jones, Marvin Jones, Laviska Shenault. I don't know who's the two. Probably Marvin Jones, but and now Treadwell is wide receiver 5. Jamal Agnew is still sitting on that roster too.
Yep.
I don't know really what they're doing. Evan Ingram, I like it. He's not going to get 100% of the playing time. Dan Arnold's not just going to go away. But yeah, I'm fine with it. We know I don't like Evan Ingram. So I would sell Evan Ingram, get rid of Zay Jones. I just don't have any interest in any of these players. I'll take my chances on Christian Kirk only and just kind of ignore everyone else. I think it's going to be Christian Kirk. If there's going to be a reliable fantasy option, it's going to be him. Everyone else, I think you can just kind of, you have this sometimes. You have teams. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to be a good quarterback, but even with a good quarterback, you sometimes have teams that have one great weapon and everyone else is just kind of not so great. So,
yep.
Oh no, Ryan, you're gonna.
Oh no, I'm getting it again.
But get you very soon.
Hold on. While we're on the Jaguars, I need to pause. Did you read that article today?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Who's that 99 guy on the Rams?
Yeah, who's number 99 on the Rams? Yeah, Urban Meyer didn't seem to know that who Aaron Donald was. So, but he did know that number 99 could be a problem for us. Oh boy, I don't even know how you. In some ways, I don't even know how you continue after that. But somehow he just kept going and going and going. But yeah, he's gone now. Thankfully, let's be thankful for that.
Hopefully, Trevor Lawrence can thrive. But yeah, we don't need to. We've talked about Urban Meyer enough throughout. Everyone has, honestly.
I feel like I talked about Urban Meyer so much. But yeah, I think that's enough about those Jaguars weapons. Anything there that we need? Yeah, anything that we need to talk about. All right, next.
For them. We got CJ Uzomah to the Jets, 3 for 24. I mean, they're trying.
And then they also gave Conklin 3 for 21.
It's like the Patriots.
Yeah.
Like a discount.
I mean, I don't really get it, right? I mean, if they paid Uzomah and Conklin that much, they're going to use them. Mm-hmm. I don't know, man. I don't really think Uzama is much for fantasy. No, especially not after signing Conklin, because he's not going to get 80-90% snap share anymore. He exists. I'm not interested. I don't mind it as a real life signing. The Uzama signing, Conklin, not as much. That signing I don't really like, but Uzama I don't mind. If you're the Jets, I understand it, but given the market rate for tight ends, actually, it's really not that much of an overpay.
No, especially with the Will Disley contract.
Well, Will Disley got an identical contract, yeah, but I'm fine with it. Nothing really to say about it. Really, it doesn't affect Dynasty much. You don't want these guys.
Nah. So next up, we got DJ Chark to the Lions. I'm a big fan of this one.
You're a big fan, really?
I'm a big fan of DJ Chark because I think he's talented, and I know that 2019 seems like it wasn't 2019. It seems like an outlier.
I just feel that how is DJ Chark going to be fantasy relevant this year? How is Jared Goff going to turn back the clock? I mean, I don't see that. I don't know. I don't see it. I think that DJ Chark is just okay. And he might give you some weeks, good matchups. Maybe you can play him as a mid wide receiver 3 in good matchups. Otherwise, he's going to be wide receiver 4 range pretty much for me. This is just not someone I have any interest in, really. Unfortunately, I don't like this landing spot. I like it for the Lions, actually. I think it's what they needed, an outside wide receiver to complement Amon-Ra in the slot. I like it. It's not a bad real life signing. They didn't overpay. It's only 1 year. That's fine. But Adam has turned back the clock to what? People forget that Goff was actually good. There were for parts of 2017 and 2018, Goff actually was fine. Goff was good. It just turns out that he could only be good with Sean McVay telling him exactly what to do. That's all.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not super interested in DJ Chark in Dynasty. And honestly, I really don't hear a lot of people being super excited about DJ Chark. Do you?
I mean, I'm not super excited. I'm just saying I like DJ Chark as a talent. I'm not going to go out there and overpay for him, obviously.
Yeah, don't do that.
Like, if I get him for like 206, I'm okay with it.
I'm not paying that.
That's fair. I mean,
I'm pretty out on DJ Chark. I'd rather just start over with someone else. I've seen too much failure. Too much failure, and I just, now he's going to the Lions, and the Lions are big failure. So we don't. Now we have big failure. We have failure and big failure, apparently, is now a thing. So you'll hear that from time to time. But I think we can move on from DJ Chark. It really just it happened.
Yeah, it happened. You know what else happened? Russell Gage to the Buccaneers. Like I said.
Oh, okay. I actually kind of like this one. I like it in the sense that, like, if Chris Godwin, we don't know how ready is Chris Godwin really going to be, right? This is their Super Bowl window. This is it. I don't know if Brady has more years. You got to take it 1 year at a time. This is their window. Godwin's not going to be ready. Gage can step in, and they also signed Brashad Parham in, which gives me another sign that there's a good chance Godwin might not quite be ready for week 1. But then if you look at it this way, you have Evans on the outside, you have Gage in the slot, and you have Parham in as your other outside receiver to start the year and wait for Godwin to come back. And then when Godwin comes back, you have a monster lineup. And I think Evans, Godwin, and Gage is, not your best trio. That's still the Bengals. But, it's up there. It's up there. It's one of the best. It's one of the best trios of wide receivers you can put out there. Probably second best. So definitely. Gage is good. Gage has improved throughout his career. I mean, I wrote a little bit of an article on him. He's good. So I like this signing. It's a little expensive. 3 for $30 seems a little expensive, but not overly expensive.
I mean, at the going rate of wide receivers.
Yeah, it's not horrible.
Yeah, I'm a fan. Like I said, I didn't see this one coming, but with the Godwin.
No, I didn't see it coming either. Yeah. It must mean that Godwin must not be ready to play week 1. That's the only explanation, but I'm not worried about Godwin.
Or Brady really wanted Russell Gage. You never know.
Yeah, maybe. It just seems like it does, but they've extended everybody. I mean, they restructured Evans' contract, they extended Godwin, and now they have Gage. They are committing to these guys, Brady or no Brady, for pretty much the next 2 years without a trade. They're not going to be able to cut any of them for next offseason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but
I
think Brady,
maybe Brady has 2 more years.
You never know. But we're gonna move on from that because we talked.
Yeah, we
about
can
that
move
already.
on. He's just someone who's a throw-in in trades. I don't dislike him.
Yeah,
But here, before we so this is the kind of the cutoff from when we went. Now, these were all pre our surprise show together on AskDLF. So before we go back to the post AskDLF, let's get some of the questions that we've had live. So I don't want to feel like we're ignoring you guys. Okay, so Trogdor, I need Jimmy G off the 49ers. Running out of options and can't have Lance on the bench another year. Yeah, I feel like a lot of the questions are going to be about the moves that haven't happened over the ones that have. Well, at this point, I mean, what's left for Jimmy G, really?
Carolina.
Kind of, right? I mean,
they can't send him to Seattle. They're not going to do that.
Maybe they could. I mean, who knows? Maybe they would think that that's a bad thing for Seattle to have Jimmy G. But yeah, it does feel like Carolina and Seattle are the only teams left looking for a quarterback. They both have top 10 picks. So, they might get another quarterback that way. But I thought that Jimmy G was going to get more interested. Maybe the 49ers are asking for too much. I don't really know.
The Colts, rumor has it the Colts said no because of the shoulder. So I don't know how bad the shoulder actually is.
Yeah, it could be bad. I'm starting to get concerned about Jimmy G. I've dropped him a little bit down my dynasty ranks. He's sitting at quarterback 25. But, right now I have Carson Wentz and Davis Mills and Matt Ryan behind him. If this starts to drag out even longer, I don't know. But then what happens if Jimmy G's still on the 49ers? Does he start?
If he starts, then the whole Trey Lance pick was just never worth it in the first place.
I know. But, oh, man. Because honestly, if you think about it this way, if you have Jimmy G on your fantasy team, wouldn't you rather that he stays in San Francisco?
Yeah.
Starts over goes to certainly not Seattle. I guess Carolina is pretty good landing spot. You'd have good weapons.
I mean, you would prefer him to stay in San Fran at Tank Lance's dynasty value, presumably on someone else's fantasy team. So,
well, he's not going to be on my team. But okay, so we did this once before, but let's do it again. Percentage chance that Jimmy G is on the 49ers roster week 1.
Oh gosh, we did this last time. It was really, really low.
Yeah, so let's try. I think that number might change.
I want to say like 40 to 45% range ball.
40 to 45%. That's kind of high.
It's kind of high, but I think it's going to happen. I mean, the GM is obviously lying. John Lynch is lying. He said he had an offer on the table of multiple second-round picks. Stop it. Come on now.
We know that that's bullshit. We know that. He doesn't have any offer like that. If he had an offer like that, he would have taken it.
Oh yeah, 200%.
Yeah, so that's bullshit. We know that. We don't need to listen to John Lynch's lies. We know better. But yeah, I would say it's 30% because I think that there's a possibility that they end up cutting him. I think they might cut him and try to sign some other players with that cap space. So if we get to like August and he's still there, then like if we get to the part where they're actually preparing for the new season and he's still there, I'm going to be very concerned. But we're nowhere near that point. So I still say it's about 30%. Concerning though, if he's still there, that's not good for Trey Lance. Thanks, Adam. I actually talked to Adam today. It was very nice. I love Adam. Trogdor says Pitt's moving down the rankings at all. Is he? I didn't move him. I mean, I wanted them to move on from Matt Ryan soon. So this is not a horrible thing long term.
No, not a horrible
thing. Get Ryan out of there and get the replacement in sooner.
Yeah. Whether that be 8 in the draft, I don't think it's this year.
Well, I will say for redraft, I mean, if we're doing redraft and we have Marcus Mariota as the quarterback instead of Matt Ryan, Pitts is going to be lower in redraft than he would have been. But in Dynasty, Pitts is such a important asset that I'm not moving him down.
You can't.
But in redraft, I could see it.
Yeah. I mean, he'd probably go to the end of that tier with I probably prefer Hawkinson over him, but the other guys, no, like Goddard.
I mean, yeah, no. I don't know. Hawkinson, I'm not sure why I would prefer him either. He has some of the same problems. If anything, there's more target competition there. I don't know about that. Really, in redraft this year, it's going to be Kelsey and Andrews are the clear top 2. Clear. And then you get Pitts, Kittle, and Waller, really. Maybe Hawkinson are the next four. And then it's a step down from that. But I'm worried about all of those guys. For me, I think in redraft this year, I'm either going to get Kelsey or Andrews, or it's going to be a long time. It's going to be a long time. I'm going to get one of the later guys. I don't think I'm going to be getting much Kittle, much Waller, or much Pitts. I have serious, and if it's one of those three, it'll be Pitts for me for sure, because he's the one who has the upside. Do you have any comment?
I do have a comment. It only looks so messy because I had my headset and controller, my Xbox controller under the stuff last night. I had remotes under there. I cleaned the remotes out. Okay.
It was last time it was very, very clean, but I just felt that, this comment needed to be put up there.
It needed to be. Adam's keeping me in check over here.
Well, I'm about to be made fun of, so we'll get to that when we get to that. Thoughts on Michael Thomas with Jameis? I keep checking my phone just to make sure Sleeper doesn't do anything to us, because this happened recently, right? I mean, recently. So we'll talk about it later, but a quick thought on Michael Thomas with Jameis, good or bad? Good, although we've never seen them play together.
Never seen them play together, but we've seen Jameis amass the stats.
You would think it would be good, but we've never seen it. Trent Baalke is a joke, Jaguars general manager. Absolutely. He's a joke. He's one of the worst general managers in the league.
I'm stunned he's still there after hiring Urban Meyer and hearing all the stories. They're still coming out.
You want to talk about big failure? Trent Baalke is on my list of big failure. All right, from Jesse. Which side of the trade do you like in 12-team Superflex PPR? This is a big trade. Lance, Ridley, 24 first, 24 second, or Tyreek, Woods, Gage, Mac Jones, and Jimmy G. So really the important pieces are Lance and a 24 first versus Tyreek and Mac Jones. But the better added value, I'd rather have Woods, Gage, and Jimmy over Ridley and a 24 second. So if it was close before, I'll take the side with Tyreek.
Yeah, I'll take the side with Tyreek. We don't know if Ridley's going to play again. There's, it's
also,
indefinite.
These picks are a long time from now. This is 24. If it were 23, I would be much more interested in that side. Yeah. I still think Jimmy G is going to be a starter, but he was exposed and once correct. Yeah, Jared Goff was exposed. Yes, Jared Goff was exposed whenever anything didn't work exactly how Goff planned it. Let's take that back. Goff didn't plan anything. How McVay told him to do it. If there was even a slight change, a slight deviation, he couldn't do that. He couldn't do anything like that. It had to be exactly the way that he thought it was going to be. He's not very creative. He can't think for himself. He just did what McVay told him to do. Do I have a New York accent?
I don't know what that sounds.
I think so. Well, I kind of do.
Kind of, I guess. I don't know.
A little bit.
I'm very bad with accents.
When I get mad. I don't get mad that often. I'm trying to be very relaxed and calm these days. I want the people to know that I'm working on that. No, I'm not actually working on that. You guys nobody would watch my show if I were calm. August. I'll say that in New York accent. But I don't want to be calm. No one would watch this show. Let's see. Let's get back to the show sheet.
Yeah, let's get back at. This is post Ask DLF, so this is new stuff that
we haven't addressed any of this. There'll be one thing that'll come up that I have addressed, but only one.
Yeah, only one. But how about J.D. McKissick pivoting back to the Washington Commanders?
Okay, I thought this was funny. So, if anyone doesn't know what happened, McKissick signed the deal with the Bills during the legal tampering period, but those deals are not official. So you can go back and, sign with another team as long as you haven't officially signed the contract, which you cannot do until Wednesday at 4 p.m. The tampering period starts Monday at noon. So at some point in that period of time, we're going to put that coming up in a second. Somewhere in that period of time, J.D. McKissick decided he wanted to go back to the Commanders on the same offer. So what does it do for Antonio Gibson? I mean, we have the Gibson hype train right here, which has now been derailed. The trade has been derailed, I think. at this point, right? I mean, the derailed, right? We can't put the train back on the tracks.
No, we can't put the train back on the tracks. I actually tried to trade for Gibson in that period when trade him away.
Oh yeah.
When McKissick wasn't going there, and I got a message 12 hours later. He's like, I just saw the trade offer. McKissick's going back. I can't do this. So tanking value everywhere.
Give me a number. Where does Antonio Gibson rank among running backs in Dynasty? Let's say you're not including rookies.
Not including rookies, because Brees Hall will push him down one.
Yeah.
I'd probably put him at the end of RB1 range.
Number.
I'd probably put him at 11.
Okay, so I actually have him higher than you do.
Oh, wow.
I have him at 10.
That's interesting. I guess I hopped off the hype train fully.
Yeah, well, I'm such an ageist that I have Dalvin Cook and Nick Chubb behind. So.
I think I have them both behind as well. So
I wonder who the difference is. Barkley, maybe? Kamara?
I have them both lower.
So. Oh, I don't know who the difference is then. Okay. Oh, if anyone doesn't remember this was back in July. I did an episode with Jacob Sanderson on his podcast. It was the last real guest spot that I did. I did one on Get Real with Casey Kasem, but that's not talking about fantasy football. That was just talking about me and how amazing I am. Which I suggest everyone should listen to that show. It's just 2 hours of me talking about me. But this show, we did like a court case about Tua, and I believe that the court ruled in my favor. Because it would, of course it did. But no, in all seriousness, it was a good show. So speaking of this whole incident, so today, Duke Johnson just signed with the Bills to take J.D. McKissick's spot. Is Zach Moss droppable?
He was.
He was droppable the whole time. Zach Moss is irrelevant. He is terrible. But, you know, I know that there were some people last year who said that Zach Moss was going to be a breakout star. And that I even heard someone say that they would rather have Moss over Derrick Henry, but we wouldn't know anything about that.
I honestly don't. I'm out of the loop.
I do.
We'll talk about it later.
I'm glad that we did not have that happen. Zach Moss sucks. Zach Moss has always sucked. Tried to warn people for a long time, and I hope people listen because he is so bad. So bad. Yeah, you can drop him. And I think the Bills are making the right decision. And I think, you know, you're not going to be able to use Duke Johnson. Honestly, I'm not scared of Duke Johnson. The one thing that I am scared of is that Duke Johnson is not good enough to prevent them from taking yet another running back in this year's draft, which I could easily see.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Jacob's smart. He doesn't lose very often. But we gave him an uphill battle on that case. That was a case that was tough to win. I got the side where I was heavily favored. Any hope for Philip Lindsay? No.
Sadly.
No, I love Philip Lindsay. Look, he's my first ever really waiver wire pickup in my entire time playing Dynasty that mattered. So, that's like my first one of those first James Robinson type where you get someone off waivers for nothing and they become something. But no, there's no hope for Philip Lindsay. I'm sorry. I wish, but
I wish. Yeah, so do I. But I guess we can go back to what's next on the show sheet? It looks like it's your Giants because we talked about Russell Gage.
Yeah, we did talk about that. Oh yeah. Oh god.
Tyrod Taylor to the Giants. 2 for 17. Is this any competition for Daniel Jones?
No, it's not. But I don't know. I guess this is more just Tyrod Taylor can kind of run the same offense. I guess I don't even care. Who cares that they signed Tyrod Taylor? Who cares? Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
Speaking of backup quarterbacks, did you see that Teddy Bridgewater quote that's going to drive the internet insane?
I did see that. And I am not surprised, but who knows? Either way, back to Tyrod Taylor, it's nice for the Giants that they have someone competent. But honestly, I would rather they didn't sign someone competent so they could lose a few more games. This Giants team just sucks. It's awful. They signed, they haven't done anything. They haven't done anything to improve the roster. So, no, it's not competition for Jones. But you can probably roster him, Tyrod Taylor, that is, in deep super flex leagues because Jones gets hurt all the time. streaming value, I guess.
Yeah, streaming value for sure. I mean, he's not one of those quarterbacks that's going to start like a Mitch Trubisky did, or Mariota might now. We don't know yet, but we'll see.
We still have to see if the, if the Titans go for Mariota. They might.
They're not. The Falcons aren't going to pursue Baker Mayfield, so that just came out.
They're not.
No.
Why would they?
That's a good.
Who would want Baker Mayfield?
I'm just saying the news that I was relayed here from my phone.
Yeah, Baker sucks.
He could be very well out of a job. I mean, his only spot Seattle, but I think Seattle kind of likes him. So
I mean, you saw my thread, right? I mean, I put up a thread about will Baker Mayfield, or it doesn't look like there's a good chance that Baker Mayfield is not a starter next year. And, the people have voted. They're still voting. They still have 22 more hours to vote. But it's 60% say that Baker Mayfield will be a week 1 starter. So, people are in on that. What about this? Could Goodell come harder on Watson because they manipulated his cap hit for this year? I don't think so. I think that they're just going to make the decision based on the other stuff. I don't think that how do you people do this kind of contract manipulation all the time? Yeah, it looks bad. It's icky. It's gross. I mean, we know that. But in terms of the NFL punishment, I don't expect this to change the NFL's punishment.
No.
The only thing I could see it is if the NFL decides to fine Watson off game checks, like not related to his game checks, that would get around this contract manipulation if they just fined him a number. So that's the only, that could change something. But other than that, I don't think this is going to change the number of games he's going to miss. And honestly, I don't know how many games that's going to be. I think it has to be some because I think the outcry is bad. But unfortunately, I think the NFL is in a tough spot here. I think that there's no amount of games that's going to satisfy the people who don't like Deshaun Watson, myself included. There is no number of games that's going to satisfy me. So, and they want Deshaun Watson to be on the field for their product. So since there's no satisfying the people who feel the way that I do, unfortunately, I feel like the number is actually not going to be that high. I think it's going to be 6 to 8 games, and that's it.
I'm feeling 8.
8?
Gut feeling, yeah.
Because the problem is, I feel like the majority of people right now would either like Watson to fall into one of these two categories. They either like Watson to never play in the NFL again or want no suspension at all. So you're already not going to please most people, no matter what you do.
Yep. It's tough.
So
there's no way around this.
No, there's no way around it. No matter what they do, they're not going to please people. So but I don't think this is going to be why. Okay. Are we sure the NFL community doesn't think higher of the rookie running back class than we do? Would explain the lack of free agent running back signings for Nick Gordon Rojo. Maybe.
That is true. Maybe. I mean, Fournette took a visit with the Patriots today. I would do something to the. That would be. Yeah, it would take 3 fantasy running backs and make them all irrelevant. Yep.
So that would be just what we need, right? No, we don't want that.
It'd crush me my Ramondre Stevenson shares that I was settling on.
Yeah. But I don't know if they think higher the rookie running back class, though.
I don't know. I mean, it's so tough to tell until we get draft capital. And by that point, the question will,
Yeah, Arthur Smith could want Mariota due to the Tennessee history, but he also had a history of Mariota being bad. So I guess I think Mariota sucks. I really do. I think he's horrible. I really think he's horrible. I have nothing nice to say about Marcus Mariota. I think he's terrible. He's not as bad as someone like Drew Lock, but Marcus Mariota, I think, is worse than Teddy Bridgewater, who just signed as a backup. I think Marcus Mariota should be just a backup. He's probably similar talent level to like Jacoby Brissett or so. I'm not interested in Marcus Mariota, but apparently Atlanta might disagree.
I think they do get a deal done. I mean, who's left besides?
Yeah, I mean, they have nothing on their roster, so they're going to have to sign a veteran and draft someone.
They have Josh Rosen.
No, they don't. I mean, they do, but he doesn't count. Any reason to hold OJ Howard or Trey McKitty? No, right?
No, I mean, Howard maybe because he's on such a great offense, but
if something happened to Dawson Knox, then maybe. Trey McKitty, no.
They haven't made their wide receiver moves yet in Buffalo either, so.
Yeah. Trey McKitty, though, no.
No.
Would you drop any of these guys for Brian Hoyer, Laquan Treadwell? Why? I don't want to pick up Brian Hoyer, so no.
No. I know, right? No finishing the victory laps around here, I guess, with Bill Belichick.
Yeah, I guess not. Okay. Oh, this is a monster show sheet. All right, let's.
It really is.
Next topic.
Next, we are at the Panthers saying Dante Foreman, and that poses the question: Dante Foreman or Chuba Hubbard?
Neither. I mean, I don't know. I feel like it should be Chuba Hubbard. I mean, Chuba Hubbard was supposed to be good, but what this means is I'm just not chasing in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. If I had to pick one, it's Foreman. He was productive last year with the Titans.
Yeah, I'd rather take Hubbard and just take my chances. I kind of know what Foreman is, but it's probably not either. You don't want these players.
Breaking news. The Falcons did indeed sign Marcus Mariota, 2-year deal. Happened already. There you go.
That was fast.
That was really fast.
2 years and what? You have any idea?
Rappaport just tweeted 2 years.
Okay. So essentially what this means is that, all right, well, let's just do that right now. So if they sign Mariota to a 2-year deal, what that means is that he's going to start week 1 for them this year, I would think. And then I think they're going to draft a quarterback at 8.
Yeah.
I feel like they almost have to. I feel like they can't. I guess they could, but it just feels like Mariota is so bad. I guess this means Mariota has some value now.
He definitely does. I tweeted out earlier that the big loser of this Matt Ryan trade was the Seattle Seahawks because they pick right before him. So
the destinations for Garoppolo and Mayfield are closing down very fast because I would think that Atlanta is now not going to trade for either one of them after signing Marcus Mariota.
Mm-hmm. No, it's Carolina, Seattle. That's it. Those are the only spots that are open.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing any contract details, but we'll get them when they come in.
Yeah, I think that this is a interesting signing, but I'm not, of the players like this, I guess you have Trubisky, you have Goff, you have now Mariota, kind of like bridge starters. You have a lot of players like that. I think this is the one where they're the most likely to take a quarterback anyway.
Yeah. I mean,
this reads like a bridge quarterback contract to me because they don't have a backup. They don't have anything. So I would think that, Mariota is really just, you're looking at something like what Andy Dalton was last year. Going to start a couple of games. But
yeah.
And then be a backup.
It definitely could be the best spot, but Malik Willis to the Lions is heating up a little bit. I've been hearing all those rumors. I was looking at the odds on FanDuel. He's tied for first with Kyle Hamilton. Like the odds are shooting up a little bit. When Vegas shoots up the odds a little bit, there's some fire there. So,
I mean, Atlanta could take another quarterback at 8. It would probably be a bit of a reach, but I
mean, you have to at this point.
Yeah. I guess they could just tank, but NFL teams don't do that. tank for next year.
No,
But
none of them are like the Sixers.
no, that's just not something that's done in the NFL. But yeah, I'm really interested to see now what happens with Baker Mayfield and Jimmy Garoppolo, because really it makes sense that Baker goes to the Seahawks and Jimmy Garoppolo goes to the Panthers.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it.
But you just have to say that they don't have any like leverage at all.
It does.
So it's kind of tough to make a trade. I did see that quote about Baker Mayfield saying that a team would have to pay the Browns a pick or the Browns would have to pay a pick to get rid of Baker's contract, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
He's that bad.
Sort of like a Brock Osweiler kind of salary dump deal we saw a couple of years back.
Yeah, wasn't that that was the Browns. Was that?
That was the Browns taking Osweiler from the Texans.
Yeah, and they took Osweiler. This would be the reverse.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so where were we?
We were debating Dante Foreman, but
oh yeah, well
we finished up that topic.
I think Christian McCaffrey is just going to come back, right? I don't
200%.
Christian McCaffrey, unless Christian McCaffrey's out, you can't use anyone else there. But I guess he could be out. It's happened before.
It has happened before, but next up we have Julio Jones getting released by the Titans. And this is, I mean, I wrote the predictions a while ago, but now I think the Colts could be prime targets. Matt Ryan, reuniting them.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would make a lot of sense, but who knows? Julio Jones is washed, right? And I think it's also kind of interesting that the Titans were so quick to cut Julio Jones. Didn't save them anything, really.
No, they brought in Robert Woods right away.
Yeah, that's true. I guess we can just talk about that now. Yeah. Woods came over for a 6th round pick. And, I guess at this point, Robert Woods has a lot more left than Julio Jones. Julio Jones just looks kind of done.
It's sad. It was a great career.
I do think there's a good chance he signs with the Colts, though.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, do we really want him in fantasy though? I don't know, unless you're tossing a really extreme late round pick, which I think people are just going to want to ride out Julio Jones for the rest of his career.
Yeah, I guess. I mean,
it's too late now.
When he signs, you can turn now. When he signs, you might be able to get something.
Potential. But beyond that, I don't know. There were so many rumors. There was him reuniting with him going back to Atlanta, with Watson going to Atlanta, and that just
was so much of that. People teaming up in Atlanta.
Yeah, nothing happened. It's unfortunate, but it's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. But I think that's
Packers.
That's a good. I could see that, especially because they have nobody. They have Allen Lazard. They
have Allen Lazard. They were interested in re-signing MVS, but I don't think they did that. And then they re-signed Tunian. They restructured Cobb, so they have Cobb. They have Amari Rodgers. Yeah, it's not good. But I don't know if Julio. How much does Julio Jones solve it? Maybe they'll think he'll solve it, but I don't know. We'll have to see where he lands. I think the Robert Woods trade is more interesting for the Titans. Maybe he'll provide a good second weapon for Ryan Tannehill. He really struggled without a lot of those weapons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really did, especially in that playoff game. Even though the weapons were there, but
that's true.
That's definitely true. But
I believe the Titans were they were the What were they? The number 2 seed or something? Or 12-5?
Didn't they get the bye?
Did they get the bye?
I'm pretty sure they got the bye, didn't they?
Did they?
Because it wasn't Buffalo, and the Chiefs didn't get the bye, and the Chiefs played Buffalo at home, and Buffalo won their division.
The Titans were the 1 seed, 12-5. Somehow they did not feel like the 1 seed though.
No, especially after that Bills Chiefs game, they did not feel like the 1 seed at all.
There was a lot of parity this year,
which is fantastic. I love that.
All right. So I have a challenge for you.
Oh boy.
I haven't done this in a while, but I will be right back, and you get to entertain the people.
Okay,
and, hold the audience until I get back.
That is perfectly fine. So, I mean, where do we start? Let's go into OJ Howard signing a 1-year deal with the Bills, and if this impacts Dawson Knox at all. I mean, obviously it doesn't, but what else is there to say about OJ Howard? OJ Howard was such a high draft pick, 20th overall by the Bucks, and he kind of started that rookie tight end trend where they don't produce right away, and it's just tough for. Let me see the comments. Can I bring these up? I can't bring the comments up, but they were the 1 seed. Yes, Adam, you are correct. But yeah, let's keep talking about the next one. Raheem Moser signs with the Dolphins. Shout out Jacob Sanderson for predicting this in the zone run scheme. Raheem Mostert is now here to challenge Chase Edmonds, who got a 2-year deal, a technically 1-year deal with the Dolphins. And I think it's pretty impactful that I think Raheem Mostert is going to start. I think he's going to split with Chase Edmonds. I really like him. If you could get him for an early third, I'd say 302 to 304, 305 range. I say why not with how weak this rookie class is. I think Raheem Mostert could definitely contribute for your fantasy teams this year. I don't know how much the Dolphins offense is going to be decent, but you just got to take these chances in fantasy sometimes. Chase Edmonds is a sell. Raheem Mostert is a buy for me. There's a lot of minor signings in the show sheet from this point. I'll come back to Ricky Seals-Jones with the Giants when Tyler gets back because he's the residential Giants fan, and we'll let him talk about his team. But that's a minor signing. I can't pull up the comments, but does that rule out Miami drafting running back? I think it kind of does. I mean, maybe we could see a guy with round 3, round 4 capital, like early day 3, late day 2, but this definitely rules them out of the Brees Hall, Kenneth Walker, Isaiah Spiller kind of running back because, Chase Edmonds wasn't enough for me to say that because they obviously had James Conner last year with the Cardinals, those two, but I think maybe a Rashad White. I've been saying that. A Tyler Batty. Running back like that. Early day 3. Someone like, I'm trying to think of more names here. Damian Pierce. That's another good one. I'll take the other question as well. Where do we want Brees and Walker to land in the draft? I mean, Atlanta's a great spot. I know they did re-sign Cordell Patterson. They signed Damian Williams, but that's nothing much to compete with. But a lot of the spots have been taken. Miami was a prime one. I mean, we could see someone up. There you are. I was running through a little bit of the show sheet. I was going a little quick, but
it's all good. Yeah, no, I don't know what's been up with me today. Or every day. I don't know. If the people have been watching some of my content lately, I've just been kind of a mess. Just I haven't been the same. It's honestly actually not because of fantasy or anything. I don't know. I've just been going through some things. Haven't quite been myself. Pretty much
help you get through that.
Yeah, I hope so too. Like I seem to be so cranky. Like I don't know. Like more like actually cranky instead of just like me. Adam was cheering you on.
Yeah, he was.
I
kind of answered this.
I think that they I doubt that they do.
I said late day 2 or probably early day 3.
It would have to be a later pick. Did we do this one?
I kind of started on it. I said Atlanta was a possible spot.
Atlanta would be great. I mean, I think Brees Hall has a good chance of going in the first round, though.
At the end, yeah.
Yeah. What about Tampa?
Everyone thought Brees Hall was going to land in Miami.
I know.
But I think that's done now.
What about Tampa, though? What about Tampa?
I mean, with Leonard Fournette taking that visit with the Patriots today, it doesn't sound like he's a lock to come back. So,
yeah. Houston at 13 needs a running back.
Don't do it. Don't know. They can just do it at the top of round 2. They can just do it at the top of round 2.
I'm just saying, though.
I know.
We'll see.
Buffalo, yeah. I mean,
yeah.
They can still.
Yeah, no. Ryan always crushes it. Ryan puts up with me. I can be hell sometimes.
Nah, he's lying.
I'm not lying. No, I'm the person you see on the show. So the same one who gets passionate and kind of all over the place and sometimes crazy about players. I'm that person. I'm like that in real life. It's really me. So, sometimes I get one way or another way about something that happened or what something someone said or just anything like that happens in my life. I'm just kind of always like that. So I know that I can be difficult to deal with. And I just appreciate, Ryan, Cal, and Addison for, continuing to work with me. Because I know that like when I'm on and when I'm at my best, like I'm worth it. Like I bring an audience, like it's a good
worth
show.
it. Stop it.
I meant like content wise, as a person, of course, but content wise, I know that, most of the time content's good. So, not everyone, there are plenty of people who are great people, but who don't create good content. And, that doesn't change anyone's worth as a person. But, I know that it's, it's just life can be tough sometimes. Oh, interesting. Seattle likely to take Willis at 9 with Rush trade. Maybe. Got to tell you, though, I don't think Willis is going to be there at 9.
I think that's ruled out. Like I mentioned earlier, Detroit, the rumors were heating up, and now Atlanta is a clear spot for a QB.
Well, I just don't think that Willis gets past Atlanta at 8. I don't think so. I think if he's there also, Willis and Marcus Mariota can run the same offense. So,
I mean, what's ruling out the Panthers at 6 too? I think
nothing is. I just think that the Falcons are even more likely to take someone like Malik Willis. I think the Panthers, they could take him. They could not, because the Panthers could trade for Jimmy G, and then maybe they don't do it. But he will not make it past Atlanta at 8. So he won't get to Seattle at 9 is not high enough to get Malik Willis. Possible Malik Willis goes at 2, like you said. But he's not going to make him past Atlanta at 8. So I would say probably not. I don't know. I still think Seattle could trade for Baker. I really do.
The rumors are strong. They sound like they really want him.
To be honest, I think that a lot of NFL teams, the way they see it, is that Willis is the only quarterback in this class that they want. And if they can't get him, then they don't want the other quarterbacks in this class. They'd rather just play Marcus Mariota and just deal with it. Okay. This is actually a good point. I could see that. Especially Baker. Because there's with Baker, there really isn't, we're going to keep him. Baker is so disruptive and so keeping him. I mean, if you're the Browns, what do? I think you just send him home. The question is, you got to pay him the salary either way. So if you can't trade him, if NFL teams think he's worth negative, what's better? Cut him and actually let him play for someone else, or have to deal with the constant disruption, but keep him away from playing for someone else? The money's the same. So what would you rather do? Deal with disruption or deal with him playing for another team? I'd probably just deal with him playing for another team because I don't want disruption. I mean, it's going to be, if you have Baker Mayfield still on your roster every week, it's going to be a new article about, well, Baker did this, he did that. is going to be a distraction. You don't want to distract. I mean, there's already enough distractions, already enough problems on the Browns. There's already a huge problem with Deshaun Watson. You need not the same level, but you need another big problem with Baker Mayfield. I would just cut him personally. Get rid of him. Cut your losses. Like, it comes a point where it's just like you really need that 7th round pick. That's going to make or break you. Just eliminate this problem from your life.
I mean, they want a premium pick at this point, so
they're not getting that. They're not getting that. I can tell you, they're not getting that. I don't think that he's worth a pick at $18 million. I don't think they're getting anything. So, yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Bill O'Brien would have done a lot of things. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate that. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard sometimes. But thank you. Oh, man. All right. Where were we on the show sheet?
So if you want to provide your thoughts about O.J. Howard and Raheem Oster, I kind of went a little quick through that.
I think I'm good on O.J. Howard because we had a question earlier about O.J. Howard. Yeah. As for Raheem Mostert, well, I think that if he's healthy, he'll play. And like he'll kill Edmonds' value. Edmonds is the starter.
I like Raheem Mostert. I don't know.
He's so old.
I just think with the whole coaching thing with Mike McDaniel, I think he's going to get a lot of run there. I said early third. I'm okay with an early third.
Oh, I'm not paying that.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, you can have him. I'm good.
I will then.
Yeah, no, take him. I don't want him. Okay. But yeah, I don't have anything else to say about Raheem Mostert. Deshaun likely gets suspended. Absolutely. There's no way the NFL can get away with no suspension. They would literally be, I don't even know what would happen to them. But like I said, I do think the suspension is not going to be that long because I really think that for people like me, I'm not going to be satisfied with any suspension. So there's no pleasing me. So why make the suspension longer? That's what I think the conversation is going to be in their offices. You're not going to please the people who just want him out of the league forever with any length of suspension. Maybe you could please some of them with a full year. But I don't think there's any difference between 6 games, 8 games, 10 games, 12 games. Those don't matter. It doesn't matter. It's not going to give you better PR. I really think it starts to make an impact on PR if it's a full year. And I can't see them doing it, but it would be interesting if they did. Yeah. That would change a lot of the takes we've made. Because I think most of the takes about Deshaun Watson, but I guess if it's 8 games, that's a majority, half the fantasy season. So a lot of the takes about Deshaun Watson seem, even my own, I guess, without really thinking about it. I don't know what just happened there.
I don't know what happened there either.
I've kind of assumed that he's just playing where the whole year. And I guess that's far from a lock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Far from a lock.
Yeah. All right, let's keep going.
All right. I mean, Ricky Seals-Jones, I said we could wait for you to talk about that. It's not a major signing, but
oh my God.
It's the Giants.
Oh, it's a small deal. Right now, he's the starter, and there aren't many guys in this draft that would supplant him. So, but I don't want him. I don't want him on my team. He's not a fantasy asset.
All right. I mean, fantasy relevant tight ends in this draft, it's basically at this point, it's either Isaiah Likely.
It's Trey McBride, and that's
Trey McBride's number 1, but then there's Weidermeyer and Likely as well.
I think there's only one fantasy relevant tight end in this draft, and it's Trey McBride.
I can't argue that one. I don't know who's going to be fantasy relevant at tight end until we know landing spots and draft capital. I mean, Trey McBride's obviously going to get it, but the other 2 maybe.
Yeah,
we don't know yet, but I mean, now looking at the show sheet, this is where we get into the major news.
I know. All right, I will pick it back up. The people demand more. They demand more energy, so we will try to give the people some more energy.
All right, so
let's go.
Let's get into it. Allen Robinson, 3 years, $45 million to the Rams. How about that one? That one came out of nowhere.
Didn't see it coming. I thought that they were just going to stick with what they had, re-sign OBJ on the cheap, and have Kupp, Woods, and OBJ, and then Van Jefferson as their fourth. So that's not what happened. Instead, they traded Robert Woods away, which we kind of talked about from the Titans' perspective. But now from the Rams, we have Cooper Kupp as the 1, Allen Robinson is the 2, Van Jefferson is the 3, and then Tyler Higbee is also there as the tight end. For me, what this means is that Allen Robinson, he should... What have I missed today? On the show or Spice, I'll try to give you some Spice. What have I missed on the show? We've talked about a lot today in the news. I mean, Winston signed with Saints, Ryan. There's a lot of stuff you missed today. Yeah. So go and check your sleeper app, DJ. Go and check your sleeper app. Check the sleeper app. If that's actually good, it's not a sponsor, but if you want breaking news, the sleeper alerts are the best. Those are the best. That would be my first choice. So go check those sleeper alerts and you'll get a full rundown of everything that's happened today. Not a sponsor, though. They did give me $100 to play squads. So, something like that. They gave me some amount of money to play squads. I always forget who gave me what. But I appreciate them for that, at the very least. What was I talking about? Allen Robinson. Yeah, so where would you rank Allen Robinson in redraft? Give me a number.
Oh, gosh. I'd probably rank him in the low 30s.
Low 30s?
Yeah.
Redraft, you'd rank him in the low 30s.
Yeah, like I'm confusing the numbers. Low 30s, like 30, 31, 32.
Oh, so you'd rank him. That's low. That's not
low.
Right. Yeah, well, I was thinking like 22. You think 30s?
I think in the 30s, but low 30s.
Oh, okay. So we don't agree. I mean, in Dynasty, I have him at 33. And that's because he's going to be 29 before he's going to take a snap. And I think that's fine. But if I'm having him in Dynasty at 33 at 29, I have to rank him in redraft. Ranking of wide receiver 33 in Dynasty at 29 only makes sense if in redraft, I'm ranking him around 20, 21, 22. Yeah. If I ranked him at 30, then in Dynasty, he would be like at 45 among wide receivers or even lower. So why do you have him so low then? It's interesting. After they traded Woods away, because we usually don't, typically, we don't plan this out, but typically we mostly agree on most things. This is a pretty big disagreement. Why do you have him so low?
I should have him higher with the passing attack, but I'm not sold on Allen Robinson as a player, honestly, after last year. I mean, maybe Matt Nagy wrote him out of the playbook a little bit, maybe. And I know Sean McVay is certainly a better coach than Matt Nagy. I don't think there's any debate in that one, but yeah, I'm just not sold on Allen Robinson, the player from last season. He's not done. He's not done, but he's not.
Yeah, no, I get it. If they re-sign OBJ, then you know that OBJ is coming back over the back half, and that would lower my Allen Robinson rank pretty significantly. Because then the back end ceiling during fantasy playoffs isn't there. Not that I'm overly scared of an injured OBJ coming back, but it would lower Allen Robinson ranking. Van Jefferson was completely dead. Now, after the Woods trade, he has a tiny bit of life. The one thing also, another player that I think I don't have ranked right is Tyler Higbee. I think he's way too high. I think I should just move on. I don't think there's not going to be the targets for him.
No. Where do you have him in Dynasty?
Too high. I have him at 19. I guess that's not that high.
Yeah, I have him lower than you. I'm at 22, so.
Yeah,
seems in the right range. I mean, there's not much at tight end though.
No, there isn't. But maybe I should have him lower.
Maybe he'll catch some touchdowns in a great offense. I think that's the right spot for him in that range.
He has some upside. I guess I'm not crazy. Okay. Let's.
Oh, moving on. I see the next one.
Oh, what's the next one?
Devontae Adams traded to the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yes. This one. Yeah.
That
so
I did years ago at this point.
Yeah, I did a video on this one on this very channel. You can go find it. But so I talked about that in detail. We won't talk about it for too long, but yeah. What are your thoughts? Because people can hear mine. They're on the video.
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to be wide receiver 1, but he's going to be a high-end wide receiver 1, if that makes sense. He's going to get valuable targets. The offense is going to be great. Derek Carr gets a little boost from me. Not much. just a tad. It's so hard to rank him over all those other quarterbacks in Dynasty.
All right, here we're gonna play some games. We'll play some games with all of this. So, Derek Carr and Dynasty. Derek Carr or Kirk Cousins?
Derek Carr.
Aaron Rodgers.
That's the line where I have
right.
Yeah, it's the line. I'd probably go Rodgers, but like it's tough.
I'll take Carr. I'll take the H. Yeah, I get that. The contract is tough.
Yeah, it's
Carr or Tua.
no Carr easy. I had Carr above Tua before that anyway.
Oh wow, yeah. So you like Carr? Okay.
Yeah.
I
mean, he's a consistent. Maybe the ceiling's QB 12 for him. Like that's the ceiling, but you could expect high end QB 2 production, and especially with Devontae Adams there now, pretty easily.
Yeah. No, I get it. What about so let's move on to Adams. So in redraft, you would rank Adams as wide receiver what?
Probably looking at the list, probably 5 or 6.
5 or 6.
Yeah.
Who's ahead of him?
Cooper Kupp's ahead of him. I want to put Jamar Chase. Justin Jefferson's definitely ahead of him. Tyreek Hill. And then AJ Brown's kind of a toss-up.
Yeah. I think I'm going to have him at 5 with Cooper Kupp, Tyreek Hill, Jamar Chase, Jefferson, and that's it. Ahead of
AJ
him.
Brown's the coin flip at 5 and 6.
See, for me, Deebo Samuel is the one that's interesting. But I'll probably have Deebo Samuel behind Devontae Adams at 5. And then in Dynasty, I have Devontae Adams at 13.
I feel like he's a smash at redraft wide receiver 5 because he's going to put up the numbers.
Yeah, the wide receiver changing teams is not always great, but
I know it's
I do think that the high end ceiling isn't there, and that's why in Dynasty he's never going to be a wide receiver 1 again for me. The high end ceiling that he had with Rodgers is not there with Carr. He's not going to win you a league by himself.
What's that going to translate to in redraft ADP, like wide receiver 5, like late second round?
Something like that, yeah.
I'm okay with that. I mean, you're going to get a consistent producer when last year.
He'll be in the second tier of wide receivers, assuming that Kupp is in a tier alone as 1, which is how I'm going to have it.
And I know rounds 2 and 3 were riddled with fantasy busts last year, so.
Yeah, also, I do think that before this, when he was on the Packers, he was the clear wide receiver 2, and he was close to being in the tier with Cooper Kupp for the first tier. Now he's clearly in the second tier, and he's more like 5. So definitely a value hit for me. What about, I'm worried about Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow.
Yeah.
But it depends on what you expect. Depends on where their ADPs land. In Dynasty, I'm just done with Darren Waller. Hunter Renfrow, but I've been done with Darren Waller for a while. Hunter Renfrow, he's sitting at wide receiver 42, which feels low. But if I'm going to rank Hunter Renfrow just has no upside anymore.
He's not going to get that target share he got last year. There's no way.
He's not going to come even close. So I have him at 42. I'm just not that interested. But I get why someone might like him. Huh. Are your rankings based on projections, a feel, or a mix of both? Well, I don't do projections. I wouldn't say it's just based on a feel. I would say projections. I get into this a lot. Projections, I would say, are mostly not that helpful because you're projecting over a whole year, and you obviously can't do that. Things happen in the middle of the year. Also, they're definitely not based on projections. They're based on, I do mental projections. Like a lot of it's based on the reason we talk through redraft ranks, right? Because someone's redraft ranking is based on, then affects their dynasty value. So that goes into it. I wouldn't say it's just based on feel. It's definitely not. I just don't have a feeling on things. I analyze it, but I don't do those type of projections. I think they are a lot of work, and I think that they are not worth it. They are not worth it. They don't provide added value to people reading them. Not mine anyway. Maybe if there's someone who has a really complex or something really cool, you got to have something original. If you're just doing your own projections for the sake of doing them, they are not worth your time. Don't bother. You have to have some sort of special value add. And I just don't. So that is not my area of expertise. And I have not felt that people who do rankings based on projections are better. I don't think their rankings are better necessarily. So if I don't think it's better, why would I do, I don't even know, hundreds of hours of extra work? So I just don't have time for that. Like as you can kind of tell, I'm already underwater as it is. And that's not a project people are asking for. Like when the things people are asking me for are more different types of rankings. They're asking for more Patreon shows, more shows on this channel. Nobody's really asking for projections from me because they know that isn't my area of expertise. And there are other content creators who are really good at that. So they know that that's probably not something that's going to come from me.
Shout out to the people that do those. It is a ton of work.
Shout out to people who do it. The people who are good at it should. That's why we have other creators. That's why I'm not the only fantasy football creator, because I'm not good at everything. So I can't do everything. If I tried to do everything, then I wouldn't succeed at anything. Okay. This means nothing, but Devontae Adams is a true sophomore with Derek Carr. Yeah, no, I am aware of this. I'm aware that he had a great connection with Derek Carr at Fresno State, and that's why he wants to play there. I'm aware of that.
Yeah, it's truly wild. I still can't believe that went down. They've rumored it for so long. They've talked about it. They're like, hey, this could happen. And everyone's like, nah, Aaron Rodgers is there. It's never going to happen. Lo and behold, the NFL is a wild place.
Apparently.
So is the AFC West. Wild West.
Watch my video on the Devontae Adams trade. Yep. It's on this channel. It's great.
Yep. So DJ Moore, amid all this wide receiver craziness, he got an extension. 3 years, $61 million. I thought it was 4 years. It was 4 years when it initially came out.
I guess it was 4. It's 3 more years because he still has 1 more year. But and then maybe there's a void year, but it's 3 actual years after this year. So it's through 2025.
Yeah. I have to ask you the question. Will he ever get a quarterback?
Well, I think he's getting Jimmy G this year. But so no, I mean, he's not getting a good quarterback this year. We'll see. I don't know. He's not going to get anyone great this year.
It's so tough. I mean, at least for me, he'd rocket in my dynasty ranks if he got a quarterback, but it just never seems like it's going to happen.
Doesn't seem like it's going to happen. Right now, I have him at wide receiver 12.
Yeah, I have him at wide receiver 11, I believe. But that would go up. I said like 3 potentially if
Deshaun Watson, but it's not. He doesn't.
They were out early in that sweepstakes.
Yeah, I mean, right now his starting quarterback is Sam Darnold.
He still puts up good numbers.
It won't be Sam Darnold. Don't worry.
No, there's no way. No possible chance to be Sam Darnold. I agree. I think he could be Jimmy G. I want to rule out Malik Willis. I want to. What do
you think about this, though? If the Panthers draft Willis, how far would DJ Moore move down in your dynasty rankings? That's kind of a Lamar effect.
That's a fantastic question. I'd probably put him down a couple of spots, 13, 14, 15, maybe in that range.
Yeah, I'm not sure that Malik Willis is going to be this bad, but I'm not excited for it. You got to hope he can be more like Kyler Murray or Trey Lance, what we wanted Trey Lance to be than Lamar. But concerning, Willis would not be what I'm looking for to move DJ Moore up my dynasty rankings.
No.
Which quarterback improves DK's dynasty value the most? Baker, Jimmy, Willis, Locke. It's Jimmy. Definitely Jimmy. Jimmy's the only one of these who's a competent NFL passer right now.
Willis probably too.
Is he a competent passer? I don't know about that.
I'd take that over Locke and Baker at this point.
I would too.
the chance.
But Jimmy, for me, would be the one who would improve DK's value the most right now.
Yeah.
Also, because getting Jimmy means that they could get someone actually good in 2023 for DK. Willis, it's going to be him, but I don't really want that. I love Willis. Look, I don't want to hear people hear what I'm not saying. I love Willis's dynasty value for himself, the same way that I like Lamar's dynasty value for himself. But just because I like his value for himself doesn't mean I like the value of his weapons. Same thing goes for Jalen Hurts. And by the way, your Eagles have a new wide receiver.
I know. I saw that.
Zack Pascal has signed with the Eagles. Well, he's immediately the wide receiver too, ahead of Rager. And but yeah, I think this is a good solution to their problems.
Yeah. Shout out to Zack Pascal for carrying me in the fantasy playoffs a couple years back when he posted like 20 in a random wild card week when I had to start him.
Yeah,
that's about it. But yeah, I like Zack Pascal, so I'm happy.
Grade the trade. Jonathan Taylor for DK and 3 firsts, 107, 2023, and 2024.
I'll give it an A.
I give it an A.
I can't give it an A plus because I love Jonathan Taylor, but
I know.
Anyone else that would have been A plus. I love the value.
FF Lefty Pascal, really love that guy. I don't hate him, but I don't love him. He's not gonna have any fantasy value. This is an NFL signing. The only people on that team who are gonna have fantasy value are Devonta Smith and Dallas Goedert for receivers. Maybe Miles Sanders if he gets his shit together. But you don't want additional receivers on this team. All this does is, it makes it clear that there isn't going to be another relevant receiver there. Stock down. You can now cut Jalen Reagor and Quez Watkins from your dynasty teams. And honestly, you can cut Pascal too. I don't have any interest. But at least maybe JJ Arcega-Whiteside won't make the team.
Don't remind me.
I have to.
I know. It's so rough. I mean, my friends from time to time always send me pictures of him with under the umbrella. Have you seen that picture?
No.
I'll send it to you. Just give me a second.
Under an umbrella?
Under a sun umbrella. Hold on.
I've never heard of that.
I'll pull up the picture, but first off, we'll talk about the next move, which is the big one.
I don't like this one.
Deshaun Watson to the Cleveland Browns for 3 firsts plus some minor picks. Fully guaranteed 5 years, $230 million deal. You could talk about that while I find this picture. It's not going to be hard to find.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so they gave him a fully guaranteed contract, 5 years, and then they put all the money none of the money in the first year salary of the contract, so that way he can not lose that money with a suspension. So, I mean, I don't know. This is all gross, right? I mean, you had all the NFL teams lining up for someone who still has 22, sexual assault allegations against him. It's gross. I don't really know what to say. Obviously, it just shows that there are some NFL teams, not all of them, not all of the teams feel this way. There are a lot of teams who were never going to pursue Deshaun Watson no matter what. There are teams who felt that way. But some of the NFL teams, including, we know, the Falcons, the Saints, the Panthers, and the Browns, did not care. And they were going to do whatever it takes to get Deshaun Watson on their team no matter what. Part of me can't blame the general managers because if they don't do it, they're going to get fired anyway. They're going to lose their jobs if they don't win. I do suspect that the teams that said no came from the ownership, just decided that's not going to be for us. With that said, from a fantasy perspective, we have to see how many games he's going to play this year. If he plays all of them, then it's a huge boost to Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper went from being irrelevant to being very relevant. As for beyond that, I don't know. Donovan Peoples-Jones, I'm still not interested in. They're going to sign another wide receiver.
Will Fuller.
Probably Will Fuller. There's also some talk about Jarvis Landry coming back because actually now that Amari's there, you put Jarvis in the slot and you had Cooper kind of as the top outside receiver and Peoples-Jones as a deep threat. It would actually kind of work. especially now that they got rid of Austin Hooper. Now they could go back to playing 11 personnel more. So if they're going to add another wide receiver. And yeah, I just feel like it is what it is. It's tough. And, obviously if you're in a super flex league, you should probably add Jacoby Brissett to the back end of your roster in case he starts 8 games this year. It's worth something. So just make sure he's not on waivers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I agree. It's very tough situation to navigate.
It's icky. It's icky.
Yeah.
It's icky and gross. And, I really think that it's the kind of thing that it just shows that, people in the NFL do not care about anything other than winning. It's all that matters. And that, that's in some ways that's sad. I often said if it was up to me that Deshaun Watson would not play in the NFL again, or at least would not play until these lawsuits were resolved in some way that was, brought justice. And that has not happened. So I certainly wouldn't have been anything like this. I certainly wouldn't have signed off on a trade like this if I were the owner of the team. And, I just wouldn't do that. So, I understand that other people feel differently, but that's how I feel. And there really is nothing else to say about it. When it comes to redraft this year, it's going to be tough to decide where to draft him when you have no idea how many games he could play. He could play anything from all the games to almost none of the games. So then I don't know how to give advice. I just don't know how to be in the predicting business of how long the suspension is based on events that haven't happened yet. He's still sitting for depositions in these civil trials. So I just don't. How can I give advice on that? I don't know. And that affects everybody. Essentially, Amari Cooper is either a mid wide receiver 2 or completely irrelevant, depending on how many games Watson is suspended. But what do I tell you? I don't even know. So it's tough. Hopefully we get a resolution on that suspension soon, but I don't think we will. They're going to wait until the last possible moment and have the most information they possibly can, which is probably the right thing to do. Because really, there's no difference if you hand down a suspension now or in 5 months. It doesn't matter. So you might as well wait until you have the most possible information before acting. But, for our purposes, that's going to be incredibly inconvenient. But, again, that's a minor issue in the grand scheme of things, is our inconvenience really is not the point here. But I understand that this is going to be a very frustrating topic for me, for probably, any and all of my co-hosts and people I work with on content, and also for all of you playing fantasy football who, this is not your fault. Like, you didn't ask to have to deal with this situation. So you shouldn't, if you're frustrated about it, feel the frustration. It's totally fair. And I want everyone to be able to feel how they need or want to feel about it. And if you're along the lines of, I just don't want Deshaun Watson on my fantasy team, fine. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. If that's how you want to play the game, I'm fine with that. There's nothing wrong with doing things that way. You can roster the players that you want. Whoever, at the end of the day, this is a hobby. Most people are not playing high stakes fantasy. Most people are playing, with hobby money. So roster the players you want to roster. With that being said, personally, I'm fine. I'm fine drafting Deshaun Watson on my fantasy team because at the end of the day, it's a game, and this is not really the people. It's just drafting a representation of numbers. So I can still put him on my team, but I understand if other people don't want to do that. But in real life, if I were the owner of the Browns, I wouldn't trade for him. I wouldn't trade for the real person. I couldn't do it. So there's a layer of separation for me that allows me to see those two situations differently. But I understand if you don't feel that way. So do whatever you need to do. Was that good?
Yeah,
I think that was pretty good. Cover of that. And, I'm sure I'll get questions about it. But for now, I think we should move on.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. I mean, you explained it perfectly. I don't need to add anything. So we're going to move on. And then speaking of the Browns, Austin Hooper to the Titans. 1 year, $6 million.
It's good for everybody, right? I mean, it's good for everybody. Njoku gets a chance to play, and I like Njoku's talent. The Browns were unfair in how they treated Njoku over the last few years, I think, they picked up his 5th-year option, didn't use him. Now they franchise tagged him. So it's nice to see he's going to get an opportunity to play. So I'm actually happy for David Njoku. He really didn't do anything wrong. But with that aside, focusing more on Austin Hooper on the Titans, I like it a lot less now that Robert Woods is there. The target share is just not going to be there. But Austin Hooper is not a great blocker. So they are probably bringing him in to play some receiver. But I'm not overly interested, but he was getting to the point where I was going to cut him from my Dynasty team, and now he's no longer in that group. I would rather have, so let's see where I have Hooper ranked. I have Hooper in Dynasty. I'll just give you guys a number. I have Austin Hooper. Oh, wow. I have him really low. I have him at tight end 28. So I guess I'm not interested at all. I have him above Jonnu Smith, though.
Yeah, I have him down here at 30. So.
Oh, yeah. So not super interested, but
no,
it's still roster worthy. All right. We have a few questions. Has James, so I actually don't think this one made it onto the show sheet. Has James Washington's value? Yeah, I missed this one. Has James Washington's value increased with Dallas?
Of course.
I mean, it was 0. So yes, but he's just a flyer, nothing more. He has no pick value. But if he's on waivers, I don't think he should be. I think he should be added.
He's gonna get more playing time than he did in Pittsburgh. So that's a guarantee.
Absolutely. So he should be added, but nothing more.
Until Jerry drafts a first-round wide receiver.
Then you can cut him. Yeah, if that happens. Love you guys. Thanks for the insight. Thanks, Ed. I love Ed.
Yep, same.
Okay. Aside from Lance, obviously, are there any other quarterbacks that are not currently starters that you're looking to acquire? Gardner Minshew,
yeah.
I would say is the big one. I think he's the one. He's the only one. Because now Marcus Mariota is not in that group anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Gardner Minshew is the only one.
I think this is more free agency and weight kind of question because that developed last year with Mitch Trubisky was an ad when he was on Buffalo because you kind of knew this was going to happen with him.
Well, Gardner Minshew is 1 season away from being a free agent. That's why I'm saying add him now.
Yep, add him now. I agree. He's a Mitch Trubisky, Marcus Mariota kind of situation where his value is going to get a massive bump when he eventually probably signs the bridge starter somewhere next year. Don't know where that would be.
Because I like Tyler Huntley, but Tyler Huntley was an exclusive rights free agent this year and will be a restricted free agent next year. So he's 2 years away from being an unrestricted free agent. Whereas Gardner Minshew is only 1 year away. So he's closer to being on the market. And I do think that Gardner Minshew will get a bridge starting job when he's on the market. So, because just like Mariota and Trubisky did, I think Minshew has a good shot at it. But other than him, I used to say Jordan Love, but I think that ship has sailed. I think Jordan Love is never going to be a starter.
Yeah, I think that ship might have sailed as well.
Also, I think that if he was going to be a starter, the Colts could have traded a 3rd-round pick for Jordan Love. They didn't. They traded a 3rd-round pick for a washed Matt Ryan. I think that looking at all the trades, this is telling you that people do not view Jordan Love as a starter, and they're not willing to send more than a day 3 pick for him. So he's someone I'll keep around, but at this point, I have Jordan Love ranked as quarterback 32, and now that Mariota signed, Mariota is going to move ahead of Love because Mariota is going to be in line to start, so Love is going to go down to 33.
Yeah.
So and then when the rookies come in, there's probably going to be 3 or 4 rookies ahead of him. So Love is in that stash range. I have him valued between the 303 and the 304 in Superflex, which honestly seems a little high, but it's still, he's lost. He was a mid-second round pick when he came out, so he's lost some value. Mm-hmm. Even though supposedly he would be closer to starting now, but he's actually lost value. Okay, recently we've seen a wide receiver rocket to the top of fantasy with free agency changes. Diggs, Kupp, and who will be this year. So Diggs moved himself. Kupp, I think we're talking about Matthew Stafford. So, but if you had to pick someone who wasn't a superstar and will be this year, who would you choose?
This is a tough call. This is always tough. I mean, Stephon Diggs, the talent was always there. Cooper Kupp, same thing. It just took him a while to get to fantasy superstar status. I'm looking through the rankings. I'm not going to go with Jerry Jeudy because it seems like a cop-out answer, kind of.
Also seems unlikely to me.
I mean, Deontay Johnson's already kind of a fantasy superstar.
I also don't see Deontay Johnson being any better. I think last year was pretty good. I don't think he's going to be better. I mean, I have one.
Go for it.
Jalen Waddle.
Jalen
Nothing
Waddle
changed, but I do think Jalen Waddle goes. Oh, there's someone. Jacob agrees. Jalen Waddle. I think Jalen Waddle goes from being a star to being a superstar, like a top receiver. Lamb, I could also see. Lamb is another good one. Someone who's kind of been productive, but not all that great, and takes a step forward to greatness. Lamb is someone I could 100% see. Those are actually two really good names. I would have said DJ Moore if he'd gotten the quarterback upgrade.
Yeah, that would have been
good, but not great.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I didn't know Waddle counted. I thought Waddle finished too high this past year.
Oh, you really think he was too high? But no, Cooper Kupp had a wide receiver 4 season on his resume.
He did. I would have to agree with Waddle.
We're talking about someone. I think we're talking about someone who went from great to like boom, excellent.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And those are some players I think could do it.
Yeah,
Lamb is a really good name. Someone who's been talented, hyped, but hasn't really delivered. Lamb is a name that I have out there. That is a really good choice. But again, not really super based on free agency. But there, he's still the same quarterback, same place. Traded a 2024 second for DJ Chark. Thoughts? I guess
it's okay. I mean, if it's late, I don't have a. It's so far away.
It's far away. It's fine, but I don't think I'm trading for DJ Chark. Not sure if you talked about it. We haven't actually, but because it happened before the last show and just hasn't been resolved yet.
Yeah.
Where do you think Landry will play? Jarvis Landry. Where's Juju's value and where's your rank? So we'll hold that because Juju's next on the show sheet. Yeah. Landry, though. I'm surprised he hasn't signed. I actually think that there is a good chance he resigns with the Browns. Seriously, that has been talked about. Has been talked about. It has been discussed. I think that's not that unlikely. If he doesn't, then the Packers, but they have Cobb. I don't really think a slot is what they need. They need an outside receiver.
No.
I don't know. You haven't
even filled their whole.
The Falcons have nothing. Yeah. So, but you really think Jarvis Landry is going to go to a complete and utter rebuild now?
I think he goes back to Cleveland. I think that's. I agree with you. If it went on this long, odds are he's going to come back at some point. Like
Well, who needs this kind of receiver? Really?
Buffalo,
and the Chiefs filled their need with Juju.
Yep.
But Buffalo, it is up there. They need a slot receiver. It's exactly what they need. They have outside receivers. They have Diggs. They have Davis. They have outside receivers. They need a slot receiver. I thought they were going to be on Kirk. Kirk ended up being way too expensive. So I think Landry signs in Buffalo with a contender. If he doesn't sign in Buffalo, I could see him sign, but like every other team that needs is not a contender.
Mm-hmm.
So Buffalo just seems like such a perfect fit. If the Titans want to load up, Woods is not really a slot receiver. AJ Brown is definitely not a slot receiver. So he would make sense there if they really want to load up at receiver.
Yeah.
The Saints, but Thomas does like to play in the slot. So not sure that's a great fit. I would have said the Bucks before they signed Gage.
That would have been a good one. Yeah.
49ers are not a terrible spot. It wouldn't be great for the existing weapons there. But yeah, I do think that my two choices would be first Buffalo and second would be back to Cleveland are the most likely.
I think he's going back, but I agree Buffalo's up there as well.
In a rookie draft, Mariota and Trubisky are available. Should I use pick 301 on one of them? Okay. Alberto is also available. So 10-team Superflex, not tight end premium. Okay, so would you use the 301? It's a 10-team Superflex. Would you use the 301 on either of these two? Or Alberto?
This is tough. I'd probably use it on Alberto and Trubisky, and I probably would pass on Mariota.
I don't think I'd use it on Alberto in a not tight end premium. Alberto is not ranked that highly for me overall.
At 301,
But 301, remember, in a 10-team is pick 21.
Yeah.
So it's higher.
Yeah.
I would probably, let's see who gets picked, but I'd only consider using it on Trubisky of these. I wouldn't really consider the other two.
Yeah, I mean, Alberto it seems like his value spot there in a 10 team. I feel like that's where the teardrop's going to be around pick 21, maybe a little before that. Like the second teardrop or the third. I don't know how my tiers are going to align, but definitely not the first.
Yeah, Dixon plays slot. They also have Isaiah McKenzie who can play in the slot. It's not limited to a slot receiver, but I do think that they want a slot receiver because I think they want to be able to go dual slots as well when they go 4 wide. Although they haven't done that much with Dawson Knox kind of emerging. Anyway, where were we? Oh, Juju. Juju's next on the sheet, right?
Yep. 1-year deal with the Chiefs, up to $10 million. 10.7.
Yeah, but it's only $3 million in base compensation. Yeah. So he's really not guaranteed much. I don't think this is much for Juju. Where do you have Juju ranked in Dynasty? I don't even know. I have Juju ranked at very low. Wide receiver 40.
Ooh, I have him a little higher. I'm at 35.
Yeah, I'm not interested.
I'm not really on him either.
I just think nobody wanted him in free agency. Nobody wanted him, and I think it's very telling. No one wanted him. So I'm out on Juju. I'm not out because the Kansas City wide receiver 2 never does anything. I'm not out for that reason. I think that's kind of just a narrative. I think it's possible that the Kansas City wide receiver 2 could do something. I don't use past failures against him. I'm just not interested in Juju, and this hasn't made me interested in Juju. That's all. It's not because of that reason.
Yeah, Sammy Watkins was a really good football player when he was in Kansas City. Like, it's not that narrative.
At times.
He was good at what he was doing.
Yeah.
Which is commanding some extra defense away from Tyreek Hill and
Travis Kelce. He was good at that.
He's a better NFL player than he was fantasy in Kansas City.
Where do you think you're going to rank Juju in redraft? Do you think?
Probably high wide receiver 4, low wide receiver 3-ish.
Yeah, so not good.
Yeah, he's definitely going to get drafted before that.
I'm probably going to rank him pretty low. So I won't have any.
I agree. I won't have.
I'm not a fan
of my teams either. But
all right, what about the next one?
Yeah, we're going back to Atlanta with Cordell Patterson re-signing, 2 years, $10.5 million. Damian Williams also signed. So
yeah, but now I'm a lot less interested.
That's what we know now.
Well, with Matt Ryan is immobile and is kind of a dump-off machine because every immobile guy is. And now Marcus Mariota is not that. So Cordell Patterson has taken a hit for me. I'm not. They also signed Damian Williams. Damian Williams has no value. I'd rather have him over Mike Davis, probably. But I would think they're going to add yet another running back. They also now have another 3rd-round pick, which increases the odds they're going to add a running back.
Yep.
I think they will. And either Damian Williams or Mike Davis will get the axe. And they'll be third. Who's ever left will be third string.
Yeah, it's a tough scenario. They're still in the market for one of those big guys at running back as well. Kenneth Walker.
I don't think so. I think big guys as in draft pick. Yes.
Yeah, draft pick. Big guys. No. Not free agent. Big guy. No,
yeah,
draft pick.
Yes. I think that they could be. Let's look at the draft order for a second. So they have obviously 8 is not going to be a running back. And then their next pick comes at 43. It's kind of tough though, because you think Hall or Walker will be there at 43? I think they'll both be gone.
Walker could be. Hall, no.
I think it's unlikely because you'd have to get past Seattle twice. And you have to get past Houston at 37.
Houston at 37 is the one.
Houston at 37 I have is circled as bad news. Bad news for potential.
They got a bunch of picks now too.
I do think that's the floor for. I think Hall's going to go in the first round, but I think Houston at 37 is probably the floor for Walker. So I don't think he's going to make it to Atlanta. But I do think Atlanta just picked up another 3rd-round pick in this deal. So now they pick at 74, 82. I think there's a good chance. And they also have another pick from Tennessee from the Jones trade at 58.
Yeah.
I think there's a good, and they could decide that maybe Isaiah Spiller is worth a pick at 58 if they like him. So I think there's a good chance that they pick somebody with one of those 3 picks, especially in the 3rd if they miss out on the big 3. So I'm not super interested in Damian Williams or Mike Davis. Cordell Patterson will have some value. Unfortunately, Marcus Mariota is a downgrade. And they still have no wide receivers at all. None. Calvin Ridley suspended for the whole year. And they have Pitts, and that's it. All right, 203 or Juju?
I'd go 203.
Yeah, in Superflex, I'll go 203. And one QB, I'll go Juju.
Yeah.
But I get it. Had a offer 207 for Alberto in a 10-team Superflex, not tight end premium. I want 207. So whatever you need to do to take the 207 side, I want that side, 207 over Alberto in this format.
Yeah, in this format. Second. Yeah. He's probably right between like.
Yeah, but this is a 10 team, so 207 is really 205.
Yeah, so I do that.
Yeah, I want the pick easily. 12 team half PPR, so I guess that's not super flex. So then I'll take Juju over 203.
Yeah.
Alex, how does Mariota impact Pitts? I think the Falcons must draft the QB. It doesn't in Dynasty. I'm just so enamored with Pitts' potential. I mean, you're talking about getting a George Kittle level, not George Kittle really, but like George Kittle, Mark Andrews, but he's like 5 years younger than those guys. And, he's younger. He's younger now than when Kittle came into the league by a lot. So I'm in on Kyle Pitts. I'm not moving him down. This is a buy window if there's any.
I don't even think there is.
Marcus Mariota is not going to be Kyle Pitts quarterback for very long. The worst case scenario is he's Kyle Pitts quarterback for all of this year.
Ooh,
good question. What do you think about this? How do you handle league mates that continue to send really bad offers? I commission a league where people complain about constant bad offers from certain GMs. Unfortunately, I'm not going to say unfortunately because I'm guilty of this. I always say break people down, send them bad offers, try to make them angry because angry people make mistakes. So you're not going to like my answer to this. It's going to be nothing. You can't do anything about people sending offers. Yeah. The most you can do is if you really don't want to receive offers from a person, you can send them a message. It's like, I'm done trading with you. Never send me an offer again. But you probably don't want to do that because then you can never trade with that person. And that kind of hurts you. So you want to let people continue to send you offers because you never know when they're going to make a mistake and you can take advantage of it. So
it's tough. I mean, you can always hit them with the egregious counter.
You can, I mean, if you want to, but you can't kick people out of a league for sending bad offers. There is a point, and I don't know what this point is, but there is a point at which it becomes ridiculous. But I think that that's a point well beyond anything I've ever seen. Like we're talking multiple offers a day for many days in a row, then sure. But I've never even seen that happen. So I wouldn't, there's not much you can do about it. Okay. We good with the Atlanta running backs?
Yeah, I think we're good with the Atlanta.
Yeah, I think we're good with it. What's next?
So Stafford got into a massive extension, 4 years, $160 million. Well deserved. Super Bowl winning quarterback. I mean, there's not much to say here. He's still going to be a low-end QB1 with fantasy.
Yeah, where do you have him ranked in Dynasty?
I have him ranked at, again, on the quarterback sheet I have him at 14.
I have him at 10.
I get behind that.
So
I think it's a tier there.
I'm all in. I like seeing him get locked up because everyone who goes with Sean McVay always succeeds. So
that's true.
I'm all in. And this just makes me more confident in my takes about Robinson and Kupp and everyone else. So I'm all in on Stafford. I have him at 10. I have him ahead of Trey Lance right now because I'm concerned that Jimmy G is still going to be there. If Jimmy G were traded, Trey Lance would move ahead of him immediately, and then Stafford would be 11. But I have Stafford ahead of Russell Wilson after this extension. I'd rather the guy in the Rams because Russell Wilson doesn't run enough anymore to use that as a difference. And Stafford is a better passer. I think Stafford's a better passer than Russell Wilson. We saw it.
Fantastic.
They both are. They both are fantastic. But also, it is, yeah. But I would take Stafford with the money and Sean McVay.
Yeah, I have them both in the same tier, so I see what you're saying. I have Wilson a little higher.
I have them back to back. I have Stafford, Lance, the 101, Russell Wilson, Hurts, and Fields all back to back, putting Malik Willis right in that tier from Stafford to Fields.
Yeah, I have it the same way. I have Fields, Wilson, Hurts, and then Stafford. I have Hurts up there.
Yeah,
maybe a little too high, but
I totally get it.
It's the fantasy upside is just as long as he starts, it's insane. But we're going to keep moving on. We're going to go to Robert Tunian getting a 1-year deal returning to the Packers.
Do we know the money on this deal, or do we never find it?
I haven't seen anything.
I think I looked for it, but couldn't find it.
It's one of those things. Yeah, I mean,
nothing reported. Spotrac has nothing.
Nah, that's unfortunate. But yeah, I mean, 1 year, he's gonna get all the targets at this point, right?
Yeah, but I'm not interested.
You can't. I mean, I think he's priced out in Dynasty.
Where do you have him? I'm very low.
I have him very low as well. I have him at 28.
I'm at 26, so a little bit higher, but I'm not overly interested.
I think people are going to value him in the 20s to 19 range after a 1-year deal.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm going to pass on that.
I like Josiah DeGara a lot. And I'm not interested in Robert Tony. They have to add more receivers, but we'll see. If they don't add anybody, then maybe. But
you never know what the Packers. We've been asking for that for how long now? Years?
Too long. Did we talk about this?
A little.
It would nuke everybody, right? It would. Yeah. If Fournette, okay, we'll talk about it quick as a hypothetical. If Fournette went to the Pats, he's the clear starter.
Yes.
And Harris and Stevenson are almost completely irrelevant, because that's how I would have it.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. That would be very bad.
Hope it's a 1-year deal and buy on Stevenson, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, it would be bad. In a startup draft, would you trade 110 and 23 first for 102? Which side do you want here?
I want the 102.
You do?
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
I'm assuming this is a 1 QB. I do it in a super flex either way.
I'm still not giving up a 23 first for this. I'm not giving up a 23 first to move up 8 picks. I just will not do it. I won't do it.
I will.
I'm not giving up my 23 first in the first round when I have no idea what a team's going to look like. No idea.
That's interesting. The next comment.
Well, then I'm definitely doing it. I'll take the side with the 23 first and take the 23 first and let people make mistakes. I want this
off the board first.
Yeah, so people are making bad picks. So if people are making bad picks, then I want to move back. I'll move back and take my value.
That's fair. That alters it a little bit for me. I was assuming that Mahomes.
Maybe you can still get Kyler Murray at 110. If you can get Kyler Murray at 110 and then have an extra 23 first, how do you feel?
I feel pretty good. I was saying, assuming this was Mahomes or Allen went off the board first, you go in for one of those two. I think they're worth it.
I'm not giving a 23 first to do it, no matter what.
That's fair. That's a difference in thinking, but I understand both sides of the argument there.
I'm protective of those 23 firsts.
I am too. I've only traded away one, and But next up, we got Rashad Penny, 1-year deal, returning to Seattle, 1 year, $6.5 million. The incentives are really low, weren't they?
Yeah, it's a little unclear, but he's guaranteed at least 5.75. So that's starter money. That's not backup money. So he's the starter. Chris Carson is at this point just a maybe. He might come back. If he comes back, he's the backup.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we don't know if he's going to come back from that neck injury at all.
We have no idea, but if he does, he's the backup.
Yeah.
Penny's the starter.
I would agree, especially after that run and close last season.
They could still draft someone, so I'd be a little wary. But, as of now, Penny's obviously a sell to me. I'm not really interested in someone who in 4 years had 6 good games.
That's fair. I'm a little speculative on it if I could get him for a late second, but I don't think I can.
So Penny or Tony Pollard?
I'd go Penny.
Damian Harris?
With the Fournette news, I'd probably go Penny.
Let's say Fournette didn't sign there. Say he signs back with Tampa.
I'd probably go Damian Harris.
Okay. Penny or Devin Singletary?
I'd go Penny. I think they're adding a back. Buffalo.
Yeah. I have Penny above Singletary, but behind Harris. Kareem Hunt. What about Kareem Hunt? Kareem Hunt or Penny?
Ooh, I'd probably take Kareem Hunt.
I'll also take Kareem Hunt, mostly because Watson's there now.
Yeah.
That makes the difference for me. Would you be trying to acquire Keyshawn Vaughn? Thoughts on the Tampa Bay backfield as a whole? No, I'm not trying to acquire Keyshawn Vaughn.
They're adding someone. I don't know where.
I think they're going to re-sign Fournette, but maybe they don't really want Fournette because he's exploring his options.
Exactly. They would have signed him to a deal by now, right?
Gordon is still out there, though.
That is true. I don't. They're going to acquire.
I think they signed Fournette or Gordon to be their starter.
I agree. They're not going to roll with Keyshawn Vaughn.
Is there any concern that Brees Hall doesn't even find a landing spot to be the bell cow? So there is minor concern, but I do think that Brees Hall is the kind of player that will push aside the players that are there. So if you look at it, what's the earliest, realistically, you think Brees Hall could be picked in the draft?
Probably Tampa.
13 to Houston?
I don't think. I think that's a little too high.
I think that's way too high.
I think it's late first or early second.
Okay, to be honest with you, I'll be honest. I think I see what the earliest spot that Brees Hall could actually be picked is 19 to Philadelphia. That's the earliest. Seriously.
That's fair. That's
the earliest. Because I just think like the Chargers, they're not going to sign him. They're not going to draft Brees. You don't draft Brees Hall. You draft Brees Hall if he's going to be your starter.
Yeah, they have Eckler. They don't.
Gordon signed to the Chargers.
No, that was a fake account that got a lot of people yesterday. It got a lot of people yesterday.
How is Hunt's value jumped with Watson there? The offense is going to be better. And there's no Baker. So everyone's value jumped with Watson there. Offense is better. Okay. But yeah, I thought that Arizona was a good spot. I don't think they draft him now. I think that they've spent too much money on Connor. So if he goes to somewhere like Buffalo or Miami, he's the workhorse starter and everyone else there just wasted their time signing there. I do think Miami is unlikely.
Yeah.
However, I do think there's one team that very much needs a running back, hasn't signed anyone in free agency, and has the 30th overall pick and could be very interested in Brees Hall. Chiefs.
Yep.
The Chiefs, they made a mistake, and now they can undo it.
Can you imagine
I don't think
that?
It's not unlikely.
Can you imagine the hype if that happened on draft night? Can you imagine Twitter?
Also, that would be crazy. But I would say if you're holding on to Miles Sanders or Michael Carter, I would be slightly worried that if those teams have the chance to take Brees Hall, I don't think Michael Carter or Miles Sanders is enough of an impediment to stop them from taking Brees Hall. They're not good enough. Brees Hall is way better. Same thing with the Chiefs with Clyde. It's not an impediment to taking Brees Hall. Whereas Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon's too good. Like Dallas has too many running backs. Buffalo, I think Devin Singletary is not an impediment to taking Brees Hall. If they want to take Brees Hall at 25th overall, they will, whether they have Devin Singletary or not. Seattle is the same thing. I don't think Rashad Penny is an impediment to taking Brees Hall if he falls to 40 or 41. So there are, I would say if you look at the rankings, my Dynasty rankings, I would say, you have obviously like Gibson, Cook, Chubb. Those are all, too good. Mitchell is scary. Barkley, Henry, Kamara, Jacobs, are all good enough. But I would say the first one who's not is Travis Etienne because he's not healthy. And that would be bad. That would be a very bad. But Etienne, Montgomery, I think is good enough just because he's cheap. But Etienne, Carter.
They don't have premium draft capital. They traded that first.
They don't have it. Yeah. But Etienne, Carter, and Miles Sanders are the ones and Clyde Edwards-Helaire are nominal starters who I do not think are good enough to stop their teams from taking Brees Hall. So my answer to this question is no. Brees Hall will become the bell cow wherever he goes. I will not worry about any of those players I named.
Talent always rises. Talent always rises.
And he is better than any of those players. All those players are, other than Michael Carter, who I like his potential a lot, and I would be sad for him. Travis Etienne has injuries, but I'm not losing any sleep over Miles Sanders or Clyde Edwards-Helaire losing their jobs. We answered. This was a fake account. Eagles can't take a running back. They have bigger needs. This is Howie Roseman. You tell me they can't take a running back. They take a running back.
They can, but Adam's right. They need defense.
Also, Miles Sanders is in the last year of his deal. So they could easily take a running back, go with, Hall as the starter and just play out the rest of Sanders' contract and then just toss him in the garbage after this season. They need It's Howie Roseman. They might need defense, but that might. Okay, yes, I would say this made sense, except that the Bucs are a Super Bowl team. Are you going to trust your whole offense to a rookie? I mean, I guess Kansas City did when they drafted Clyde, and no one batted an eye. Maybe we should have, but I guess they could. We'll see.
I'd be okay with that. They're different levels of prospect. We know this.
Brees Hall, I think, is ready to come in and start right away. I guess I could see them doing this.
Yeah.
But, they would sign another veteran. If they sign someone kind of meh, if they sign like Marlon Mack, that might be a sign they're looking at Brees Hall at 27.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited on Brees Hall. I don't think we're going to have a problem. So I think we covered Rashad Penny. And he was also on that list of people who are not an impediment to taking Brees Hall. What's next? Gerald Everett?
Yep, Gerald Everett, 2 years, $12 million to the Chargers.
Are you kind of surprised that Gerald Everett got this much money, or is it just me?
I'm kind of.
I guess it's not that much money, so I guess I'm not that surprised. But he was bad this year
compared to other tight ends.
Yeah, it's not that much.
They gave Will Disley more.
That's true. So that's very bizarre. But what do you think about Gerald Everett? I mean, do you have any interest? I have some interest.
I mean, you have to have some interest in a Justin Herbert-led offense, right? Like, it's
impossible. Where do you have
Everett
ranked?
I have Everett at 29, so I guess not.
So I have him at 23, so I guess I'm more interested.
Yeah.
I'm willing to give him one last chance. But 23 is not overly excited.
No, 23 is just, this is the position you play. You could have some potential. Roll with it.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think he killed any Trey McKitty. Trey McKitty, you can now cut from your dynasty rosters. Donald Parham,
the Parham hype train.
In a tight end premium, I might try to hang on, but he doesn't really have any value anymore. It's kind of sad. But yeah, not too much about Gerald Everett. Put him on. He shouldn't be on waivers, but he's not really worth much. Prediction: is Rojo going to be on a team? I would say yes.
Yeah,
but he's not going to have a significant role. Nobody wants him. Yeah, but I would say yes. Is he on a team? My guess would be yes.
Yeah, totally. I don't know which team, but
I don't know which team either. But I would guess that he is.
All right, are we caught up to today? Is this today?
Yeah, we're caught up to today. These are all today.
All right. Well, we got Matt Breida to the Giants.
Yeah, I just put this on there because it's about the Giants, and I don't like Saquon, but this is not. Breida is not a threat to Saquon, and if he is, that's really bad.
That's very bad. I mean, Saquon wasn't he on the trade block for like a mid-round, fourth-round pick, and nobody
bit. Yeah, no, I think that the Giants are going to draft another running back in addition to Breida. Breida's their veteran backup, and I think they're going to draft someone. This is the last year of Saquon's contract, and I don't think they're going to re-sign him. So I think they could be a candidate to draft someone in the third or the fourth round.
Yeah,
for sure.
I agree. I mean, there's not much to add there. It's just we'll see if Saquon goes somewhere.
Yeah, this signing doesn't mean anything, but the Giants, I would say, just given their team, they're probably not going to spend a second round pick on a running back, but they have 67th overall and then 81st overall from the trade with Miami. So I think they could look at a running back with one of those two picks as kind of like a long-term successor to Saquon after this year.
So we kind of covered this next move a little bit, not much. Matt Ryan traded to the Colts for a third-round pick. That happened today.
Yes.
How about the Falcons eating $40 million in dead cap for this year? Officially a rebuild there.
So we talked about the Mariota side of the Falcons. I mean, really, at this point, the Falcons only have Patterson, Mariota, and Pitts, and that's it. That's their offense. They're going to sign some wide receivers. We're not going to like whoever goes there, but there's nothing else to say about the Falcons. What about the Colts?
I mean, Matt Ryan was pretty average last year. I mean, it's an upgrade from Carson Wentz. We could say that pretty confidently, right?
Yeah. I mean, I basically said that they were committing to 2 years of Carson Wentz last year, and it was only one. The way Matt Ryan's contract, they restructured it to get this deal done, give him more guaranteed money. They're really committing to 2 years of Matt Ryan, but it's the Colts, so who knows that they're really committed to 2 years of Matt Ryan. But my guess is they want it to be 2 years of Matt Ryan.
They want that, but who knows if they're going to get their way.
Who knows what's going to happen. But either way, he's the quarterback this year. We know that. And Sam Ellinger will be his backup. But Sam Ellinger's an interesting stash in super flex leagues. I would put him on the back of your roster just in case. I kind of like him.
Yeah.
But either way, I mean, I have Matt Ryan in Dynasty at quarterback 28.
That seems like the sweet spot for him, honestly.
Yeah, I have Baker Mayfield behind him.
Oh, I would have him behind him too.
Yeah, I have Baker Mayfield, Mitch Trubisky, Jared Goff behind him. And I have Davis Mills, Carson Wentz, Jimmy G, Daniel Jones, and Jameis Winston ahead of him.
Yep. That's where I have him as well.
Yeah, so I have him at 28. And then in redraft, I'll probably have him around 22, 23, 24. Not high. He's not really a dynasty asset anymore. He's a desperation quarterback too in Superflex and nothing more.
Yeah.
What about his weapons? Does this change your ranking of Jonathan Taylor at all? No, right?
No, I mean he's supported. Technically, he hasn't technically supported, but he's been on an offense as an RB1 before. An RB overall.
This doesn't change anything. What do you think about Nyheim Hines? Do you think Nyheim Hines could have any added value with Matt Ryan, or is it no different?
I don't think it's any difference. Jonathan Taylor.
I didn't move his ranking at all. So Zack Pascal just signed with the Eagles, so he's gone. T.Y. Hilton's still free agent. So essentially, they have Michael Pittman and nothing. Well, what does this do for Michael Pittman for you? The Matt Ryan.
I mean, he has to go up a little bit, but not much.
He goes up because I think he's better than any alternative. I think I would be happier with Matt Ryan than Baker. I'd rather Matt Ryan for Pittman than any quarterback in this rookie class as a passer. Obviously, I'd like Malik Willis for my team, but the Colts were never going to get anyone because they don't have a first-round pick. So given the Colts' options were probably Ryan, Baker, or Jimmy G, Ryan for my weapons was probably my first choice. I have to choose. So Michael Pittman gets a slight value bump, but I still only have him at Dynasty wide receiver 17.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's probably right where I'm going to have him. I have him around 21. Yeah. A little lower.
I have him at 17, so a little bit higher. I like the talent a lot. Okay, so a couple more. I know the draft is a while away, but have you discussed about doing a live stream while the draft is happening? Yes. And unless something changed, I think we're going to.
Yeah. We're lining up guest spots for that as well.
Yeah, we have to actually start doing that. But
yeah, we got some time. But
we have time, yeah. But yes is the answer to this question. I added Trubisky and Mariota after the season because said they could become starters potentially. Now I have them along with Mahomes, Watson, and Lawrence, who also Watson is now back in a 12-team Superflex. Thank you. You're welcome. I'm glad I could help. Okay. So we just talked about Matt Ryan. I don't think there's much else to talk about with that. And then the last one.
Jameis Winston. Back to the Saints. 2 years, $28 million, 21 guaranteed.
Well, that means that he's their starter this year, for sure. The Taysom Hill experiment is finally, thankfully over. And they want him with $21 million guaranteed. That's 3/4 of it guaranteed. They want him to be their starter next year. He doesn't have to be. If he sucks, he won't be, but they want him to be the starter next year. So I have Jameis Winston at quarterback 22 in Dynasty, actually. Yeah. Above all of these other guys, above Daniel Jones, above Jimmy G, above Carson Wentz. Because I actually think that Jameis Winston is the most likely of those to start in 2023.
Yeah, I'd probably put him at 24. Right behind Davis Mills, because I'm a Davis Mills.
Oh, you like Davis Mills? Yeah, I have Davis Mills at 27. Okay. How far up does a wide receiver move if Green Bay takes one at 22 or 28? Ooh. Pretty. I mean, it depends on who it is and depends on, but it would be a good landing spot. Let's just say that it would be a good landing spot.
If it was Pickens, it'd probably be 104, 105. Maybe he threatens for the 103. Honestly,
maybe it depends. This is a flat wide receiver class, so there's a lot of room for movement.
If he gets the first round capital too, like I don't think he's projected to go in the first right now. I think it's early second.
Yeah, I don't do too much hypotheticals like this though.
I'm cool with 104, 105, 106. You get him. Yeah, Pickens. I like Pickens as a talent though, so I'm a little higher on him than most.
And then what about Winston signing? Does that help Alvin Kamara?
I mean, I guess.
Doesn't hurt. Michael Thomas doesn't hurt.
Yeah, it helps Michael Thomas.
And then
the alternatives, potential alternatives.
I still have no interest in Troutman or Callaway because they couldn't even produce with Jameis Winston when Michael Thomas wasn't there. So I don't have any interest in anyone else on the team. We'll see who they add in free agency or the draft, if anybody, but Olave, that would be interesting.
That'd be very interesting.
All right. Well, this was a marathon.
It was 2 hours.
Marathon. Yeah. Yeah, I know. All right, plug things.
Well, oh gosh, here we go again. My Twitter right down here at RyanPros_FF. You could follow me there, and you could follow me at Dynasty Vipers. I'm gonna start writing content soon again. Rookie class is coming up. Gonna do some free agency reviews, probably, maybe some team previews again. We'll see what's going on, but yeah, that, and hopefully we'll get the fantasy newsroom back together at some point. We're still working on that. We're still working on that.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Maybe reunions due for on here. Hint, hint, wink, wink.
Yeah, I know. I would love that. So yeah. Oh, Adam, thank you, and thank you
guys.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter right there at TylerFFCreator. If you're on this channel, please like and subscribe and comment. Yep. I know I say this every time, but it really helps the algorithm. The algorithm was good today. A lot of people were in this show. Next week we might have a mock draft, depending on how Ryan moves camera.
Yeah, I did. Thank you for noticing.
I noticed. But yeah, next week we might have some sort of mock draft. We have to talk a little bit about how we want to do that, but we might have something like that for you guys, and we'll also cover any more news. I'm sure there's still going to be a lot of news between now and then. And then soon we're going to get into the draft season, and that'll be a lot of fun. As always, you can find all my work at DLF, the DLF YouTube channel, dynastyleaguefootball.com. And tomorrow I'll be doing Ask DLF at 9 p.m. Eastern with Addison. So Addison will be there to do the show with me. And hopefully Cal comes back at some point soon. But yeah, thanks for watching. And I will see you all next week.
See you.